I was always passionate about general management. I mean, that's always something I wanted to do. So for me, I see myself running an organization, managing people, and growing as an all-round leader. And that's what Columbia Business School prepares you the best for.
The big value about Columbia is that it's such an international institution, both in terms of faculty, where they come from, in terms of student body, and also the type of case studies that we do are very representative of the way in which our economy is growing. And we study, companies from China. We'll study what's happening in Brazil and in India. And I think both the academic and social network part of that is really critical to becoming a global leader.
I'm extremely passionate about India. I'm extremely passionate about the business in India, the society in India, the politics in India. I think it is a destination where professionally a person can grow a lot more in a short period of time.
As far as the exposure we get in class, there are a lot of students who come from India who have worked there, who bring those stories into the class, because a lot of what Columbia does is marry both the teachers' lectures, but also the students' perspective. You really learn from your peers.
One of the most popular initiatives that the Chazen Institute runs are the international study tours, particularly the India study tour, which has been taking place since 2005. These are student-led trips that we work very closely with to send a group of students, usually no more than 40, to various cities in India, including Delhi, Bombay. They go to visit Jaipur and Agra and sometimes Bangalore, with the sole intent of getting a sense of what the business environment is like on the ground, by speaking with business executives, government officials, as well as visiting cultural sites. So it gives them a short-term immersion experience, which ends up they end up coming back with a very transformative experience. Is really to build their soft skill sets and to nurture those. So we're talking about leadership skills, we're talking about negotiation, we're talking about cross-cultural communication skills, which many of these students are going to be needing to rely on in much of what they're going to be doing, regardless of whether they're just going to be working more domestically or internationally.
Last trip to India, where I was organizing the Chazen tour, I think my whole experience in India just made me realize there's so much happening. And I think the biggest takeaway for me was the optimism in India. I think everybody's talking about how the firm is going to grow tenfolds in 10 years. People are talking about how the GDP is going to grow at 8%. How the banking sector is just booming. How the political system, even though it's a challenge right now, is getting transformed, day after day. And I think it's just a hotbed right now for me to go and just kind of take my optimism, take my skills, and really be part of this new movement where India is going to hopefully become one of the next superpowers.
When you go back to India, you feel the same level of independence, freedom that you feel in a country such as the US. A business focus, along with deep-rooted democracy, is something which is extremely common to India and the US. Culturally, these two countries are similar. These two nations have attracted people from the outside, and they have assimilated into the culture and have contributed to what makes these two countries the way they are today. While it may appear that India and the US or India and the West are different, I think deep down these two cultures are extremely similar.
We benefit a lot from having students like yourself come and share some of that experience. And what's different today is 20 years ago, students would come here and they would never go home.
Yeah.
But today, people are seeing that the greatest business opportunities aren't necessarily here in the United States. They're back in emerging markets like India and China and Brazil. You can't be a global business school by just looking in your backyard of New York. You have to be reaching out across the world.
Having reflected upon experiences I've had both working in India and Africa and in the US through being in school has been extremely powerful. I'm very committed to doing work on public health and economic development. The Columbia degree has been most impactful on my career in terms of helping me really focus my vision of the kind of enterprise I want to create in a much more realistic plan. and to think through operations, think through strategy, the marketing of my venture in a much more critical way. For anyone wanting to start a venture, it's an ideal opportunity because everything I've learned in class, I've had a separate notebook just to think through my own project.
Now with the business expanding, manufacturing going to places like China, Latin America, services going to countries like India and Philippines and all over the place, I think human resources is the biggest constraint for a lot of these emerging economies, and that's where a Columbia MBA helps.
I would for sure consider working in India. I think it'd be exceptional. I had a little experience before coming here, and after here, I definitely would want to work there. There's a lot of opportunity, especially for the skills that I've developed. Everything from operations to financial planets, working with startups, helping a lot of companies from my industry, helping a lot of companies move into India and really take hold of the market that's emerging for footwear and apparel. That's what I'm into.
I'm going to be joining IBM. They have a new general management leadership program, and it's a rotational program where you spend one rotation in your home country. So for me, that's going to be India. And you typically graduate the program as a general manager. So for me, the combination of CBX experience and the chance to work at IBM, do different functions and roles, and then graduate as a general manager is really exciting. If I had not come to Columbia, I don't think I would have access to the IBM program because they only hire from the top 6 to 7 business schools. So just being part of their exclusive club, I think it's a privilege, and I'm really glad I chose Columbia because it has fulfilled all my aspirations.